Welcome to the program today. It's my privilege to introduce our guest today. The title of these DVDs is called The Elite Speak. My guest spent some 3 years working on the Alaska pipeline as the chaplain and met some of the ruling elite, and they have told him many things that they have planned. As far as we know, we haven't been able to find anything that he has missed on in terms of what the elite plan for the future. So, Lindsey Williams, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Stan, for allowing me to be in your studio today. Just a matter of hours ago, an 87-year-old elitist said to me, "Chaplain, tell them everything. I'm too old to care." Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do today. You will hear things you've never heard from me before. You're going to see inserts visually into this presentation that we have never given before. You've never seen me produce anything like this before. You see, some people go to many different things to try to talk about the future. Everyone seems to want to know what's going to happen tomorrow. Well, some people go to fortune tellers. Others try tea leaves. Other people might go to the zodiac or reading palms. Well, you're not going to get any of that today. You're going to get it from the people who are doing it. The elite themselves, whom I've had the privilege of knowing now for about 35 years. And during this period of time, I've kept in touch with a few of these people, and everything they've ever told me has come to pass exactly like they say it, because they are the ones that do it. So today you're not going to be consulting something from out there, but you're going to be hearing directly from the people who rule the world.
Take just a moment and tell us how you got involved with being a chaplain on the pipeline and involved with the ruling elite.
I was a missionary in the state of Alaska, aviation missionary. They said they were going to begin building the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline. 25,000 of the roughest, toughest, cussedest, drinkingest, honoringest folks on the face of the earth to converge on my state. And the first thing that came to my mind was 25,000 of those people, they must need some spiritual guidance. Well, that was the understatement of the year. So I went to Alaska Pipeline Service Company, the consortium of 9 major oil companies that were going to build that 800-mile, 4-foot diameter pipe, largest pipe ever constructed on the face of the earth for the carrying of crude oil. And I said, "Don't you need a chaplain on the pipeline?" They said, "We don't know what to do with you. We never had a chaplain on a pipeline before." I said, "No problem. Give me a chance." Well, persistence paid off. I kept going back and back. Finally, they said, "Okay, we'll give you the northern 7 work camps, including the huge new oil field up at Prudhoe Bay, America's oil field, northern Alaska, on the Arctic Ocean." And I did. About 9 months after my arriving on the pipeline, the oil companies came to me and said, "Chaplain, we can't believe how much good you're doing for us. You're saving us thousands of dollars of counseling fees we aren't having to pay. We'd like to offer you executive status in an advisory capacity in order to help the relationship between management and labor." And I said, "Well, what does that mean?" They said, "Well, go any place you'd like. We'll give you your own truck, write your own airline tickets when you want to go somewhere. And we would like to invite you to sit in on our board meetings in an advisory capacity."
Wow.
I had not the slightest idea what I was getting into. For 3 years' time, I literally sat, as you and I are sitting right now, across the table from each other with the elite of the world, the people you hear about in the World Bank, the IMF, the people who rule nations and control currencies. And I had an opportunity to talk with them one-on-one, not as a pastor to a church member, but as a person on their pipeline. And for 3 years' time, I analyzed these people. I'd like to say, if I may, emphatically, and hope that I can somehow help those in the viewing audience to realize how positive I am in saying this. There positively is a group of people on the face of the earth who control the world. I don't know how to say this any more positively than for you to understand. I lived with them, I knew them, and I've kept in touch with some of them. Now,
and they're not all bad people, are they?
No, positively not.
And they don't all have evil intentions all of the time, do they?
Well, if so, this man would not be giving me the information he was giving me. So they do have their moral code, which is quite different than yours and mine. But yet, on the other hand, if you were walking down the street and saw one of these people, you wouldn't recognize them from anyone else. Of course, they might have on a suit and tie, but they would be the ordinary person that you would easily know who they are.
But they emphatically are in charge.
Oh, they positively are in charge. They know exactly what they're doing, and they control governments. They tell the president what to do. They dictate to Congress what bills to pass. They control the currencies of the world. They have put the world into the state it's in today. They have established the New World Order. I could go on and on and on with
They are in charge.
Oh, they are totally in charge. They know everything they're doing, and it's planned well in advance.
Is this a group of 2 or 3 people, 200 or 300 people, or 2,000 or 3,000 people? Do you have any idea how many people are a member of this elite ruling class?
If you took the very top, you would probably begin with maybe a dozen people who know everything that's going on and make all of the rules. Then it would go down to a little bit bigger group, like the Bilderbergers, or maybe the Council of Foreign Relations or the Trilateral Commission. Then you would spread it out to larger groups like the media and others who would, and each group would know less than the others did at the very top. But the ruling elite probably no more than maybe a dozen people.
So the people you were talking with were more of the ruling elite, the top 10, 12, 15 people then?
Yes.
Ooh, wow.
And
you know, people give their eye teeth to have that.
Well, I consider it to be the providence of God. So let me just give the Lord the praise and the glory right now.
Amen.
I believe that the Lord put me amongst this elite for a short period of time and allowed me for the past 35 years to keep in touch with some of these people in order that I might be able to be here in this studio today to let you know what you can expect for the next 12 months in order that you might prepare your dinner table in your household.
Are these ruling elite, they have families, they live a lifestyle that is typical, or is it very lavish? Do they live in castles? Are they typical people? Tell us a little bit about them.
They fly their jets. They live their lifestyle. They don't live the way you and I live necessarily. They are of the upper crust, but you wouldn't know one of them from anyone else if you were walking down the street. Let me give you just an idea of the immensity of the project of the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline. And at this point, we're going to insert a section that was made during the construction of the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline, just to give you an idea of the controlling power of these elite to do things such as this project. In fact, the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline was the biggest project ever undertaken by private enterprise in the history of the world. $12 billion was spent in 3 years' time. Now, keep in mind that 35 years ago, $12 billion would be multi-billions today, and the elite that the elite do. You and I, yes, we might buy an automobile or a house. The elite perform projects of this immensity.
The PYS is for, P is for Pluto, Y is for the yellow band, and S is for Somioso. We started with 10,001. We have 15,500 to do. So our last pipe will be 25,500.
About half of the sections were welded together indoors at the pipe storage yards, turning 40-foot sections into 80-foot sections. Altogether, more than 80,000 sections of pipe were cleaned, numbered, and coated to prevent corrosion in the Arctic climate.
People sometimes ask why it isn't going faster. It's like painting a house. It takes a long time to prepare the surface, but it doesn't take long to actually paint it.
Oil will will enter the pipeline at a temperature of about 135 degrees. Because pumping and friction will keep it warm as it moves down the line, pipe must be installed above ground in areas where thawing might cause soils to become unstable.
The design was conceived that will allow us to build a pipeline above ground, and consequently our design today is such that the pipeline is 50% buried and 50% above ground. That by itself makes the pipeline a bit unique in that this is the first pipeline that will be above ground for this long a distance.
About 400 miles of the pipeline is installed on supports in areas where there is ice-rich permafrost. Permafrost is frozen soil that may be anything from solid rock to muddy ice.
In other words, do they drive Cadillacs? Do some of them have nice cars? Do they live in huge houses with servants? Or do many of them, are they people that we might pass on the street and might not even recognize them?
You know, it's very interesting that you would ask this question, because about 2 years ago, I was threatened by them. And many of those who have seen my previous DVDs know that I had to pull my website, do away with my Energy Non-Crisis DVD, and say a lot of other things. There were just a few things they said you can't say anymore. And if you do, we're going to do this and this and this. And that was not very pleasant, what they were saying. So I decided, in order to be able to continue to tell the masses of people in this world what I feel they most need to know, I'll back off on one or two things in order that I can tell you everything. Yes. And at the time, of course, I had to do all of these things. And it's quite interesting that you would talk about the elite in such a manner as this, because at that point, I looked to find out where these elite are living now. We're living in different times. We're living in difficult days. We're living in days when there are powers that are moving through this world that probably have never been seen before. And I decided I would look up some of these people. I know them. I know how to keep in touch with them. I know some of them that I can ask, where are the others? Stan, I was amazed. Not a one of them is living in a city. Not one. They all have moved outside of the metropolitan areas. Many of them live in very secluded places. They are out of the general run of things. They have protected themselves because they understand what is about to take place, because after all, they're the ones that plan it. So it's interesting that you would ask a question like that. For 35 years' time, these people have never told me anything that it did not come to pass. It happened exactly like they said. Now, everything that you are going to hear and view on this DVD today, you can depend on the fact it is going to happen. Mm-hmm. It positively will take place. They will do it. There is no question but that they have the power to do this, and they will do it.
But sometimes their timetables are delayed or changed, but generally they get what they want, correct?
There is only one thing that will alter their program: the providence of God. And apart from the providence of God, what you are going to hear today will take place in the next 12 months. They control nations. They tell presidents what to do. They begin war. It's to their advantage. They manipulate currencies. They control your life and mine, whether we like to admit to it or not. And what you're about to hear today will happen. These people do exist. And apart from God stepping in, it will happen. Only a few hours ago, literally. I mean, this did not take place 6 months or a year ago. This elitist, 87 years of age, chaplain, I'm too old to care. He's going in for an operation in a few weeks. He may or may not come out. He said, tell the world everything. Just tell them. They've got to know. It's almost as if he was confessing everything that he wanted the world to know. So he's a pretty good guy, really. When you're facing the graveyard and you're an old man, you will do and say a lot of things that possibly you would not if you were in your 20s or your 30s. And that's exactly what he did. Now, that's the reason why I am in your studio today to make these 3 DVDs and a CD, is in order that I feel an obligation. I must tell you what this individual told me. I have no choice, morally, within my being. You can depend on it happening, apart from the providence of God. It is all planned. They know this well in advance. They do not do it a month in advance, sometimes 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years. Many of the things you're going to hear in these 3 DVDs, and we're going to cover an immense amount of material because I'm not going to withhold anything. I'm going to give you his buzzwords in the course of these DVDs. I'm going to tell you about Dubai, and you've got to understand derivatives. Oh, please, I beg of you, go and, all right, we'll do that in the 2nd and 3rd DVD. I'm going to talk about war. They have it planned. It's already in the works. And you're going to hear some people talk about it. Well, all of these will happen apart from divine intervention. These things are planned. There's nothing, I don't need to say it again. You can't do anything about this. It is going to happen. There's only one thing that the average person that's watching this DVD can do, and that is you can make personal preparation for your household and for your dinner table. And this is why I'm telling you this, so that you can take action right now. And if a person does not take action, it's their own fault. I'm making it as plain as I possibly can with all of the inserts that we're giving on these DVDs, which I've never done before. You say, I know, the average person, I can already kind of think ahead of what you must be saying in your mind. You're saying, well, isn't there a possibility that these people could have misled you? Isn't there a possibility that maybe they told you some things wrong in order to discredit you? No, positively not. Why do I say that? They haven't for 35 years. Why should they start now? They were younger men back in those days, and they had something to lose at times by telling me some of the things they said. $147 a barrel to $50 a barrel.
That's a big statement.
Well, that's a big statement. In fact, it affected the entire OPEC crude oil world. Now, here, please understand, 87 years of age, going in for an operation in a few weeks. He considers me to be his chaplain. And he said to me, chaplain, tell him everything. So what you're going to hear, no, it's not wrong. I stake my credibility on it. It will happen exactly. This man spoke as if to say, chaplain, tell it. It doesn't matter. You've got to let the world know it. 2 years ago, crude oil prices, 147. Went down, as you said, to 34. They said it'll stay at 50. Well, that was one of the first things I asked him about. So I'm going to begin with the necessities of life. So much for the past now. You can look at my other DVDs and know more of the background if you wish, but let me begin with the thing that every person must have in order to live. Food and water. Oh, you mean he talked about things like this? He sure did. 87 years of age? Yeah. He understands what the average person has to have. And I was amazed when he got to this part because it was so startling. There is going to be, now please, I beg of you, try to understand this. Now concentrate. There is going to be no shortage of food or water.
That sounds good.
The grocery store shelves are going to be full. There will be plenty there. There will be plenty there. You will not have, I know now, these talk show hosts and all these prognosticators and some very close friends of mine have made some forecasts lately that we're going to have a food shortage in the next year's time. Well, now, I thought that also, up until I talked with this gentleman. And he said very emphatically that there's going to be another problem. Not a food problem, not a water problem. It is going to be totally different than anything you're expecting. You see, the elite have a way of doing things completely differently than the average individual thinks in their mind. And many people, all of us, I guess, are exposed to the national media, so naturally they control our thinking to a certain extent. Well, you've got to change your mindset if you're going to understand what's going to happen, because the elite already have determined what's going to take place, and it will happen just as they say. And this individual let me know in no uncertain... Folks, please don't listen to the media. I beg of you, turn off that television set. Quit thinking about what you hear on the newscast over the radio. You've got to quit thinking in those terms and understand the mindset of the elite in order to understand what they're saying. The following statement is going to startle you. I'm warning you. Here it is. There will not be a shortage of food or water, but. Now, you heard the but. I hope you're getting this very carefully. But you're going to go hungry. Now, try to understand this. There will be no shortage of food and water whatsoever. Grocery store shelves full. They had a bumper crop of wheat in Montana last year. The granaries are full. There'll be plenty of bread, but you're going to go hungry. I know, but you've got to think like the elite now. Why? The elite always have a way of doing things the opposite of what the average person thinks. And even though there'll be plenty of food and plenty of water there, you're going to go hungry because you won't have the money to buy it. No, I know this really causes a person to think 2 or 3 times. So let me tell you exactly what's going to happen to you for the next 12 months. I told you you'd be startled. I told you this was going to be different. And just wait a while, and you'll see it happen exactly like they say it. The only way that you are going to be able to maintain your dinner table and your household is to begin some preparation right now. And here it is. You will lose. Now, this was a statement of this elitist. He said, you will lose 30 to 50% of the value of your money in the next 12 months.
The dollar.
The dollar. Purchasing power. You'll lose 30 to 50% of your purchasing power in the next 12 months. Plenty of food, plenty of water, no shortages, and you won't be able to buy it.
That means that everything that we buy abroad is going to cost us from 30 to 50% more, which means everybody that is earning some kind of income is going to take a 30 to 50% cut in their income this year. In other words, like, for example, if they're buying a car, it's going to cost 30 to 50% more. Buying gasoline, going to cost 30 to 50% more. Gasoline, let's say, for example, you're paying $3 a gallon for gasoline now. If the dollar goes down 50%, you're looking at $4.50 a gallon. That's, every day, that's going to really throw just about everybody in a severe financial crunch. As a matter of fact, you're saying that he's also saying get out of paper. And I'll let you talk more about that. But then the only thing for us to do is to put our money in gold. Now, let's say, for example, someone is thinking about buying a house. If they buy it now, then they're going to buy it with less inflated dollars than later. It might be better if they were to put their money in gold, say if they're going to buy a house, or say even maybe a car would be a better example. Buy a car, put their money in gold, and then 12, 18 months down the road, when the dollar is worth less, that value has gone up with what they put in gold, they could turn around and buy the car for substantially less and get a 30 to 50% discount on it. So the place to put their money is in gold. I would say, matter of fact, here's what I tell people. I tell people at a bare minimum, you should have a handful of gold and a handful of silver. Now, meaning a handful of gold will buy you a car, and a handful of silver will feed you for a month or so. You don't want to have to go up and say, well, I need a tank of gas, here's a gold coin. That costs $1,500, and that's probably going to be the price here very shortly. So you don't want to have to try to exchange that. Instead, you want to pull out a piece of silver that is probably $1 silver will buy you a tank of gas at that point, maybe two. So just be prepared. Think through some things.
Your Federal Reserve note will, 12 months from now, buy exactly 1/2 of what it buys today. Your retirement funds, your
401k,
your Social Security check,
passbook savings,
your food stamps, will buy 1/2, 12 months from now, what they do today. He said you will devalue a minimum devaluation of 30%, a maximum devaluation of 50%. See, they don't want to do it all at once. It's going to take approximately a 2-year period to bring the dollar to the point that it's dead. Oh, it is going to happen. He told me that about 6 months ago. He said the dollar will be dead within 2 years. Now, he's saying now, over the next 12 months, you will have a 30 to 50% devaluation. Let me give you a good example.
Let me ask you, in the last DVDs, you said that there was not going to be any falling off of the cliff. It's going to be a gradual, slow descent. Is that still their plan?
Yes. There won't be an immediate collapse. There's going to be a gradual descent in the value of the American dollar. What they did to crude oil back, about a year and a half ago, when they took it from $147 to $50 a barrel. This is a portion of the program that they have in order to bankrupt the oil-producing countries of the world. And I was told 2 years ago what they would do. This was being done by the elite. It's quite interesting. He told me why they were doing it.
That's my next question. Yes, good. Okay, go ahead.
He said that they were doing this for the purpose of bankrupting the oil-producing countries of OPEC. And it was quite interesting that just a short period after that, after I made the last DVDs back about 6 months ago, I was on a certain radio talk show. And it so happened that there was an individual that was, every day, he gave the market report on this talk show. A very popular radio talk show host, I won't mention, but this individual gave the market report on his program. He happened to be listening in over the air while I was talking about what these elitists had just told me and why they were taking the price of crude oil from $147 to $50. And I said, they're doing it for the purpose of bankrupting the OPEC oil-producing countries of the world. He just laughed right over the air. He said, oh, come on, Chaplain. He said, the Middle East is too rich. He said, there's no way that you could possibly bankrupt those people. And I've learned, after my many years of living,
if they say they're going to bankrupt somebody, they're going to bankrupt them.
Well, there are times to be quiet. And I didn't refute him over the air. I just went on about my business, and I thought, well, he'll see it happen. Well, it did. The price of crude oil came down. Then, of course, came along Dubai. And I'm sure you understand what condition Dubai is in, where they built that most beautiful city ever been built on the face of the earth, probably, apart from Babylon itself, and the tallest building in the world. And we're going to play a clip right now that someone put out, entitled Lindsey Williams is Right. They actually went to do, I didn't know they were doing